Hello, Texans and Texans at heart. I'm Susanna, and this is the Susanna Gibbs Show. On this podcast, you're going to hear from artists, idealists, entrepreneurs, and today, a mom. So, just to back it up a little bit, I've been fortunate enough to have two careers over the past 20-something odd years, and one of them was as an actress and producer. The other was selling insurance. And it's been a very, very interesting mix of art and business. But I've heard some really great stories, and as a storyteller at heart, it's fun to share them. If you'd like to tell us your story, we'd love to hear from you. Go to gibagencydallas.com. Even if you're not our client, we'd still love to hear your story. Now, on today's show, we have Veronica Mata. I'm very honored that she chose to trust me to be on the show today. Her daughter, Tess, was killed in the school shooting in Uvalde over a year ago at this point. It's a really important interview, and I hope you'll share it because there's a problem and we've got to figure out what to do about the school shootings. We've got to figure it out. So help us figure it out. And now, on with the show. Veronica, thank you so much for being on the podcast with me today.
Yes, nice to be on here. Thank you.
Yeah, it's good to see you in person. I enjoyed talking with you the other day. So tell us, who was Tess?
So Tess was my 10-year-old daughter. She was a fourth grader at Robb Elementary, and she was killed when a 18-year-old went into her school and shot her and 19 of her friends and her two teachers.
Before we get into the day of the shooting, tell us a little bit about 10-year-old Tess.
So Tess was your typical 10-year-old little girl. She loved being on TikTok. She loved her friends. She loved playing outside. She loved aggravating her sister, her older sister. She was, just your typical 10-year-old girl. She loved to change outfits more than I can count. We had laundry every day because she was always in and out of different clothes, different dresses. She would roller skate around the house. She was just a fun, loving, she was the life of our lives. She kept us going. She was the best thing that we've had.
So there's a big gap between your older daughter, who's 22
Yes.
and Tess.
Yeah. So they're 11 years apart. Yeah, they're 11 years apart.
But they got along.
I'm sorry?
Was she your second marriage baby or surprise baby?
She was a surprise baby.
Surprise baby.
She was a surprise, yes. I tried to come out pregnant right after we had Faith, our oldest daughter, and I couldn't come out pregnant. And we finally had just given up. And I told my husband, I was like, I'm fixing to be 35. I was like, if I don't come out pregnant, I'm done. Like, either you're going in or I'm going in. And I want to say, like, I found out I was pregnant 3 months before my 35th birthday.
Oh.
So, yeah.
So let's go to the day of the shooting. Were you at work as well?
I was. I'm a kindergarten teacher at one of the other campuses here in Uvalde.
How did you hear about it?
So it just kind of started off like a normal day. I had just taken my class to rotation. So it was the end of the year, so we were getting papers signed for the end of the year. And I walked into the office, and I remember hearing the secretary saying that there was police presence at Robb for another bailout. So it was typical. Robb had a lot of bailouts past couple of years, more so that past this past year, the 20 of year 22. So it was a normal thing that they had bailouts
What's
there.
what's a bailout?
So the bailouts are
Oh,
they're
bailouts.
the immigrants are coming in and they're chasing the border patrol, or DPS is chasing the immigrants, and they jump out of their vehicles and they'll run onto the school area or the streets around that area, and so they would lock the school down in those instances. So they had a lot of those. I want to say they had at least 20, 22
Wow.
maybe in that year. So it was just, something normal. So when I heard her say that they had a bailout, I was like, again. And I just grabbed my paperwork. I had one of the other principals sign it, and I was walking back to my classroom. And as I was walking back, the principal came on the intercom and she shut our campus down. And so we rushed to a classroom because we had to get out of the breezeway. We were outside still. So we ran to a classroom and we stayed in there. And as I was in there, we started getting calls from the parents of our students, asking, are their kids okay? They wanted to know what was going on, if they were safe. And, we just replied, yes, everybody's safe. We're in the classrooms. Everybody's okay. And one of my other co-teachers got a message saying that there was a shooter at Rob, and that it was one of the immigrants that had a gun. So it kind of like, okay, that's new. That's not something that we're used to hearing. But we figured, they would detain him, and everything was going to be okay. As more time went on, we started getting more messages. One of my other coworkers got a message that a student had been shot, and things just kind of started escalating from there. So from this time on, so everything started around 11:30. Um, I was in that classroom probably till about 12:15, 12:20. Um, and we were locked down, so I couldn't leave. They wouldn't allow us to leave. I finally called my principal and I told her, I was like, look, I was like, I've got to get to the Civic Center because that's where they were taking all of the students. That was our reunification area. Um, I was like, I have to get over there. I have to go make sure that Tess is okay. And she's like, okay, hold on, just give me a second. So she comes back on. She calls me probably about a minute or two later, but within that time, we received an email, and it was from our other principal stating that we had a sub on our campus, and her sister was a teacher at Rob, and saying that her sister had been shot.
Oh no.
So right then and there, we knew that there was definitely something was going on, and it wasn't your normal day bailout. Um, so she calls me and she says, "Meet me in the breezeway. I'll walk you guys out to your vehicles," because there was several other parents on our campus that had kids at Rob, so they let us leave to go and find our students at the Civic Center. So we get to the Civic Center, and I'm trying to find Tess. A coworker of mine, her husband was already there. So
Were
he had
there
found
kids
his.
there at the Civic Center at that time? Okay.
Oh yeah, yeah. They had already started bringing kids to the Civic Center right away. Um, so he had found his daughter already. So he was helping look for Tess. So we looked and we couldn't find them. And as we're there, there's buses still coming and unloading students. They're still coming. At the same time, Faith is calling me, and she's like, "Mom, what's going on? Um, you know, I need, did you find Tess?" Um, and so it would just kind of kept on escalating and escalating. So um, my daughter kind of knew a little bit more about it because we have a family member that texted her and just asked her, hey, what's going on? What school is Tess at? And Faith told her, and she's like, you need to get your mom and dad to go to the Rob now just go over there. She didn't tell her what or why. She just told her, you need to get them to go over there to Rob. So during that time that I was in the classroom, I was also conversing back and forth with my husband, and he had taken off over there. So he left from work probably about 11:45 from work, and he got there, and so he was there at Rob. He got to hear the gunshots. He got to hear everything that was happening. He saw the parents, trying to get in. He was trying to get in. It was just, it wasn't a good situation. So I stayed at the Civic Center, and we were just there trying to wait for Tess to get there. And they just kind of had us back and forth. At one point, they told us to go to the hospital to make sure and check that she wasn't one of the students that was taken to the hospital. So we drive to the hospital, and we're there probably for about an hour, hour and a half, and showing them pictures of Tess, and trying to find out, going back and forth, and then probably within that hour, hour and a half or so, they come in and they tell us, one of you needs to go back to the Civic Center, because they were still bringing more children to the Civic Center. So my husband leaves, and he leaves me there, and he leaves and he takes off to the Civic Center, and I stay there at the hospital, and we're still going back and forth, and probably about another 2 hours pass, and we finally get in contact with the ranger, and he asks for Tessa's picture again, and I show him the picture, and then I say her name again and her date of birth. And at this time, I was with a coworker of mine who also lost her daughter. We were both talking with him at the same time, and he's like, both of you need to go back to the Civic Center. He's like, just go back to the Civic Center, and they'll give you more information from there. So me and my husband both came in our vehicle. So I asked her, hey, can I get a ride back to the Civic Center with you? And so we both drove back to the Civic Center. And from that point on, we were there till we found out around 11:30 that Tess was no longer with us.
11:30 p.m.?
11:30 that night.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. So they had us back and forth all day long, and they put us in this big room here at the Civic Center. They had all the families that weren't already told that their child had passed. So there was probably about 18 of us all in one room. And they had us all there. They were, still asking for pictures, wanting to know
what was the holdup. Just identify. I mean, okay.
Yeah, they were just trying to see about identifying the children. At one point, they swabbed us there inside the Civic Center in front of everybody. So they called us by the child's name, and we walked up there, and they swabbed both my husband and I, just to see if they could find more information. But probably it was about 11:30, 11:45 when we found out that Tess was no longer here.
I'm so sorry. Were you able to see her body?
No.
No.
I didn't get to see Tess till 3 weeks later that we buried her. So I didn't get to see her till the day before we buried her.
How
so
come?
Tess, so they sent from Uvalde, they sent her and all the other kids to San Antonio for the autopsies. So they sent them over there, and there was a long delay there. And because of the amount of kids, and at least that's what they told us, because of the amount of kids that was there, it was going to take a long time. So it just kept on getting pushed back. So we didn't get to see her until we buried her on June the 6th.
I'm sorry. That's really hard.
So no, June the 13th. I'm sorry. I know it was just 3 weeks later. It was just, so those 3 weeks we were here in the house, not knowing anything, not having any information, nothing at all.
Did they tell you anything about how, like, like how she died or where she was, or they won't
Nothing.
release any of that information?
No.
Do you want to know? Like if you're like, I
I
mean,
do.
for your closure, like was she playing with a little girl? Was she coloring? Was she, what
I
was she
mean,
doing? Where was she?
we do know that they were watching a movie. They were watching Lilo and Stitch. So
Mm.
we do know that they were watching a movie when everything happened. Um, we do know that they were all huddled together. The ones that did pass away, we know that they were all huddled together. So there's little bits and pieces that we do know. Um, so it's just, it's not really the detailed information, but we do know some things here and there.
Oh, that's so hard. So I know that this propelled you, I think. Did you have any thoughts of activism before this?
No, my thought was I just wanted to get the hell out of this town.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be nowhere near here. The three of us, we were ready to leave, and we did. One of my best friends moved to California, and she called me and she's like, "Come and stay with us." We drove up there, the three of us, after probably about maybe about three weeks after we laid Tess to rest. We went and we drove to California and we stayed with my best friend in California for probably about 2 weeks. And it was there when I think talking with her and her letting us know that we were we were Tessa's voice now. She could no longer speak for herself, and we had to be that voice for her. So at the time that we were here, we were over there. There was a lot of meetings going on here in town. There was a lot of people wanting to speak with us, not just media, but like senators and representatives and stuff like that. And I think it was kind of like at that moment we decided, we're the only ones that are going to be able to keep Tessa's memory alive. So we have to go and we have to speak for her and we have to let the world know that she had rights also and we needed to be a part of her life. So,
How did you come from being there to going to the Capitol, and describe that experience at the Capitol, if you would?
so going from there to the Capitol, are you talking about in DC or in Austin? Because we've done both.
Oh, you've done both. I was mainly talking about Austin. So if you
Austin,
want to
okay.
start there and then move on.
So most of our work first started off with us going to DC,
Okay.
and then little by little it started us going to Austin. We had a lot of help from Senator Gutierrez. He kind of is the one that kind of took everything and just wholeheartedly went in there, saying that something had to be done. We needed to something needed needs to change, and you know I guess it's kind of like a uphill battle because we know that he's a politician, and we know that we have people thinking that he's just using our families to get political gain for himself, but this this man like stopped everything that he was doing, to make sure that we had what we needed first before he asked us to do anything. So when he asked us to start going and speaking in Austin, it was a no brainer. We knew that we needed to be there, and we knew that we needed to um, come up with things to help change the way Texas is right now. These gun laws they're not good for the people. They're not good for our students. They're just things have to change. So that's kind of where everything started off at, and we went every Tuesday from February all the way until um, May, the end of May.
Every
Yeah.
Tuesday you went to Austin?
Every Tuesday we drove to Austin.
Would people see you?
Yeah, I mean, we were there. We would make appointments. We would make appointments with some representatives and some that were for the House Bill 27, for the House Bill to raise the age from 18 to 21. They would visit with us. But there was
And
some
the
that
other
we
ones
would,
wouldn't?
yeah,
Oh,
there
that's
was
terrible.
there was a lot of representatives that wouldn't meet with us. Yeah,
How
yeah.
disappointed were you when it didn't pass?
I mean, we were really disappointed, but we knew that this bill has gotten a lot further than what any other gun reform bill had gotten. So it was a win, but it was a loss also, because no bill had ever gone into the committee for a vote and gotten past that. So for us to be able to have gotten it past the committee for the vote, and then it go to the calendars, that was a big hurdle for us. And I mean, on any gun reform. So it was a big, win for us. But them stalling it for it not to be in the calendar was a loss, because it was the same people you know, that wouldn't meet with us. And I mean, we did meet with Mr. Guillen, and he said, he was with us, and at the last minute he voted no, and he
Oh,
was he was the one that was
who were
stalling it.
who were some of the other people that refused to meet with you?
Um, so Trox Claire, she didn't refuse to meet with us, but she sent a her assistant. She sent an aide to go and meet with us. She said that she had a other commitment outside of the Capitol, and so she wasn't going to be able to meet with us that day. And so we've throughout this whole process, we've made a lot of friends within the media. And one of the friends that we did make sent us a picture of Trox Claire at the same time that we're there, that we were supposed to meet with her. She's in the Capitol, and she's sitting on the floor with her daughter, but she wouldn't meet with us. So it's just things like that.
What's your plans? I know you said you had come in wanting just AR-15s, the age to be raised, but you feel differently now. What do you feel
Yeah.
like it should be now?
Well, I mean, I still feel like it needs to be changed. It needs to be changed to no ARs at all.
No ARs at all.
No
Not
ARs at
just
all.
not just an age limit. Just get rid of AR-15s
Right.
altogether.
It's a military weapon. People say that it infringes on their Second Amendment rights. I don't get it. Like,
I don't either.
you don't see 18-year-olds going to the Capitol and protesting, that they don't have, that we're trying to take that away from them. You don't see, we have an age limit from 21 for beer. We have an age limit for 21 for cigarettes. I don't understand what is the big hurdle to raise the age from 18 to 21 for the AR-15s.
You have to have a license to drive a car. You have to have a license to go fishing, for
Yep.
heaven's sakes.
Yep.
I don't understand it at all, honestly. Have you talked to anybody who's been like, well, that after you talk to them, you're like, okay, well, that's a good point. Or it's all the same argument. It's the Second Amendment argument all day long.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's all we get. Is it's the Second Amendment argument, and that if they do that, then they're going to take all their guns away from them. That's what they're worried about, and that's not what that's not what we want. We just an AR-15 wasn't designed to be out on the streets. An
No.
AR-15 was a military gun. It's guns used in the military. Who These military personnel are trained to use these guns. They give them the gun, they show them how to use it, and then they take it away from them. Like I just don't. It's hard for me to like comprehend and for me to understand. Um, but it's an uphill battle, and we knew it was going to be an uphill battle here in Texas. We knew that, but like I've talked to some of the other moms, and they mess with the wrong moms. They mess with the wrong parents, and we're not stopping. We're going to continue fighting, and I'm going to
What's the name of
continue.
your organization?
The organization that I'm in is the Lives Robbed.
Lives Rob. Lives Rob. Is there a
Yeah.
website?
Yes, it's the livesrob.org.
Livesrob.org. What do you want to what's the next step for Lives Rob?
So we're still going to continue advocating for the ban assault weapons. We will be, I believe, in DC in September. So we're going to be doing some new stuff that our president has planned out. It's still in the works right now, so we really haven't said much about it. But we're working on some things. But we'll be in DC and we'll be in Austin again.
That's exciting. Um, do you do you mostly focus on gun rights, or is there an aspect of mental health awareness that's also involved in it, or are you mostly going the gun rights route?
For right now, we're mostly just going the gun route.
Okay.
We know that mental health it's a big issue, um, but the state of Texas is allowing for these people with the mental health issues to purchase these weapons
Right.
with no real good background checks. I mean, anybody can go in there that's over the age of 18 and can go and purchase a gun, and you can get it within 7 days or so. Like there needs to be better background checks to do that. So,
That's where I'm like, I don't understand why the smart gun owners don't want the rest of the people. Like, let's put the, yeah, anyway.
I know.
I
I know.
know. I mean,
It's
how do you deal with the argument that, you know what, you're a teacher. I'm going to put a gun in your hands.
no, no. Like I told my husband and I told my daughter, I would quit. I would quit my job because that's not what I went to school for. I didn't go to school to carry a gun in a classroom. I went to school for 4 years to earn my bachelor's degree to teach children, not to carry a gun in a classroom. That is not my job. That is the job of the police officers and or the border patrol, DPS, whoever. That is not my job.
Speaking of police officers, do you have much interaction with the police officers in your community?
No, no.
Have you seen them at all? Like,
Yeah,
because I mean, it's not that big. What do you do when you run into them at
I
lunch?
try to walk away, try to turn around.
Do
They
they
are
try and
still
talk to you?
no, they're still working the streets. They're none of the police officers that were on scene that day have been fired. Some of them have left and left on their own, but for the most part, most of them are still working our streets today.
Do they even acknowledge a level of, hey, you know what? We didn't really do that right? Or no? They can't,
No,
because they can't acknowledge fault at all, right?
right,
Like legally, or they're just going to open themselves up, which is totally
right,
unfortunate.
right. Yeah, no, we've had so it hasn't personally happened to us, but some of the other family members have had some of the cops laugh in their face. They've just, they feel like they have done nothing wrong. They feel like they did nothing wrong. Um, there's no accountability at all
Why would
whatsoever
they laugh, though? Why would they laugh?
because they think that we're a
Laugh in the
joke.
face of someone's grief? Like,
Hmm.
oh my gosh, that's
Uh,
terrible.
they think that we're a joke. They think that because they have that whatever, I don't even know what the name of it is, where they are protected. So regardless, they feel like they're not going to get in trouble for anything that they did in that school, no
Oh,
matter
that's
what.
terrible. That's
So
terrible. That's super disappointing. People should be better than that. I wish people were better than that.
yeah, I wish so too. Yeah.
So, how long has it been since that day? How many days?
It's been a year. It's, I mean, it just feels like it was yesterday, honestly.
Yeah.
Just depending on the day, I think sometimes we're still in denial, or at least myself. There's days that I wake up and I'm just like, oh, okay, everything was just a bad dream. I'm
Mm.
gonna get up and I'm gonna hear Tess listening to her TV or listening to her iPad, and then when you walk out that bedroom door and you see her room, and it's just like it's reality that hits you in the face all over again.
Mm.
So, but yeah,
I know there are bad days. Um, what are some of the things that keep you going?
Faith, my oldest daughter,
Faith.
Faith, work, the families that we've become close with. A day doesn't go by that we don't talk or at least text, just to see how everybody's doing. Um, but mostly, my husband and my daughter, Faith, those are the ones that keep me going and, you know, make sure that I get up every morning and I'm doing something. So I'm kind of, grateful that school's almost coming again because, I have to force myself to get up. So I'm getting up. You know what I mean? I'm making an effort to get up and get my day started. But yeah, but it's mostly just all I have left is faith now. So
Have you heard from any other families outside that have experienced what you have, like maybe outside of Texas, that reached out to you from
um,
other schools?
I haven't personally. We've met a few from Santa Fe. We've met. I want to say we met a few from Sandy Hook, but we've. I've talked. I personally have talked more with the people from Santa Fe, um, but I know that some of the other families have talked to some of the victims and the survivors from. Well, the some of the family members of Sandy Hook.
Got it. So if people want to help Lives Rob, how can they help?
So there's if they go onto the website, there is a donation on there that they can go in and they can donate. There's also shirts and bracelets and stuff that are fixing to go up on there that they can also purchase and just spread the word. Just share our videos. Our our social media person is we're constantly sharing stuff on there of stats of um, of the gun awareness. I think we just posted something of a discount for a gun safe storage box that we're teaming up with. So we're just kind of going that route. It's all new to all of us, so we're just trying to go through the process and making sure that we're doing it the correct way. So it's kind of taking us a little while. And we're moms, that all lost our daughters. So some days are difficult for us to get going, but we're slowly, surely but slowly, we're getting there, and we're getting stuff posted on there.
There's such a resistance to change in our state, especially for these. So I applaud you guys for taking on this fight.
Yeah,
Somebody's got to do it, and it's disappointing that there's not more elected officials that are able to stand up for the kids and stand
yeah,
up for doing something that's right.
yeah. I mean, because
Um,
nobody else wants to be in this position. We don't want to have to see anybody else suffer the way our families are having to suffer. Like, you don't wish this upon your worst enemy.
no,
The grief, it's something that you don't want nobody to have to go through. And if we can prevent another family from having to go through the pain that we're going through, that is what we're going to do. And that's why we're doing what we're doing.
I re-asked the guy in our office who's a teacher. I know I told you that I asked him if he had any questions, and he was like, "No, because I don't want to think about it. I try and block it out." And I asked him again today. I was like, "Did you think of anything?" And he had that same kind of look on his face, like, "No, no, I
Yeah.
don't." But I have to think that maybe that's also the other problem across the board is that people don't want to think about the
Yeah.
possibility of it happening to them. And
But
who
they,
would, right? It's
right,
terrifying to imagine your
right.
kid, but there's got to be something done to keep these kids safe.
But you know what? I mean, we were like that. We thought the same exact thing when we heard about Santa Fe. We were like, I couldn't even imagine. I couldn't imagine that happening here to any of our kids. Well, you know what? It can happen, and it will happen if things aren't changed.
Yeah. So before I let you go, there's one other thing. I want to end on the positive note of
Yes.
the scholarship.
Yes. So Texas State, we've gotten in contact with Texas State, and we created a scholarship for an incoming freshman that is going into the medical field, any type of medical field. They will be awarded the scholarship once the year starts, and we are trying to get it endowed. Right now, we're at almost $10,000. So we were trying to get it to 25,000 to get it endowed, and then that means it would be a continuous scholarship every year from here on out in Tessa's name.
Oh,
So
that's amazing.
yeah,
Who decides who gets the scholarship? Is it like a Texas State thing, or is it part of?
I believe it's the Texas State. As long as
Okay.
they are in the medical field and they maintain a certain GPA, then they're able to receive the scholarship.
Oh, I love that. That was one of my questions to you when I was like, why would you want to come
Mhm.
on this podcast and relive everything? And it was, you said, for
Yeah,
Tessa's memory. And what a great
yeah,
way to honor her memory
yeah,
with a scholarship.
yeah. We just
That's
want to make
beautiful.
sure. Yes, thank you.
So
Thank you.
beautiful. I'm so grateful that you came on. Thank you so much. I think you're so brave. And I sure do hope that people hear about this and you guys get some help in your fight for sure.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on the show. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm doing the intro and outro for this show a day after I do the interview with her. And I kind of chickened out in the interview. I wanted to ask her how many times her daughter was shot. But I didn't, and it felt intrusive, and it didn't feel like it was the right question. And so I went home at that night and I looked for over an hour online trying to find it so I wouldn't have to ask her that question. I don't feel like anybody should have to be asked that question. How many times was your daughter shot while she was watching a movie at school? And I'm not going to ask her. I know Tessa's little friend was shot 9 times. I know one of the other survivors was shot 3 and just had another surgery to deal with her injuries. This issue is really important. I feel like this may be overly simplistic. This may be overly simplistic, but I grew up playing sports. And if there was one person on our team that was messing up, we all ran. We all ran. We all suffered because that one person was messing up. And I'm telling you, if you guys can't figure out how to keep the AR-15s out of the bad people's hands, you don't deserve them. Nobody gets them. Figure it out. You may disagree with me, and that's fine. Come on the show and tell me why. Because your insurance tip of the week is that there's an insurance coverage for shooters, which is a terrible thing. It's not just covered on your general liability policy. No. It's an additional coverage. It's additional workers' comp rider. I've not sold one, but I know it exists. Thank you so much for being here. Please connect with us at gibagencydallas.com. And again, please share so we can keep this discussion going and keep other little kids like Tess and Tessa's family from going through what they're going through right now. Thanks. See you next week.